Hello students, welcome to the topic definite integration. We will continue how to solve the problems using fundamental theorem of integral calculus. Let's see the first question. Here, integration of e raised to x square into x cube with respect to x goes from 0 to 1. So in solution, let us consider the given integral as I. So we'll write let I is equal to integration goes from 0 to 1 e raised to x square into x cube with respect to dx. Now students, look at that function. It is not e raised to x, it is e raised to x square, composite function. So purposely, instead of x cube, I'll write as x square into x, right? Now let us put that x square as d. So differentiate with respect to x. On differentiation, we'll get 2x dx is equal to dt. Now let us find out the value of x dx. So x dx will become half into dt, right? Now we have changed the variable from x to t, so we have to change the limits of integration, right? Now since t is equal to x square, right, when lower limit x is equal to 0, t will become 0 square, that is 0. So we say that when x is equal to 0, t is equal to 0. Now substituting the upper limit, that is when x is equal to 1, t is equal to 1 square, that is 1. So we say that when x is equal to 1, t is equal to 1. So therefore, your original integral that goes from 0 to 1, and here also the new integral goes from 0 to 1. The first function e raised to x square, instead of this e raised to x square, what I'll write? E raised to t, because x square is equal to t. Now into x square x dx. So instead of x square again I'll write t, and instead of x dx I'll write it as half into dt. Now let us solve it further. I'm taking this half outside. Integration goes from 0 to 1. E raised to t into t. So I can write it as t into e raised to t with respect to dt. Now look at that, these two functions. One is t and the other is what? E raised to t. Correct? Is it as u into v? So let us apply the formula of integration of u into v. That is first function t and the second function as e raised to t. So let us consider this function as integration of t into e raised to t with respect to dt, same as in indefinite integration. So let us solve it further as a what? Indefinite integration. So the first function is t into integration of e raised to t with respect to dt minus integration of, in bracket, derivative of t with respect to t, that is dt upon dt, into integration of e raised to t with respect to dt, the whole bracket with respect to dt, right? We will substitute that upper limit and lower limit afterwards, correct? So the next step, t will be as it is, integration of e raised to t is e raised to t, right, minus derivative of t with respect to t, that becomes 1, right, into again integration of e raised to t with respect to dt is e raised to t. So I'm writing 1 into e raised to t with respect to dt, right? See the next step. The first term t into e raised to t will be as it is, minus integration of, inside the bracket, 1 into e raised to t, that becomes e raised to t with respect to dt. And you know integration of e raised to t is what? E raised to t. So I can write it as t into e raised to t minus e raised to t, right? Now let us solve it further. Since we have got the answer for the indefinite integral, that is e raised to t into t with respect to dt becomes t e raised to t minus e raised to t, correct? Now let us substitute the now lower limit and upper limit. So your integral, that is half outside, integration goes from 0 to 1 t into e raised to t dt, and from 1 we got the answer, that is t e raised to t minus e raised to t. Now let us substitute the lower limit and upper limit, that is 0 to 1. So if I substitute the upper limit, that is 1, it will become 1 into e raised to 1 minus e raised to 1, minus, I am substituting the lower limit, that is 0. So 0 into e raised to 0 minus e raised to 0. Let us solve it further. What is the value of e raised to 1? That is e. And e raised to 0 is what? 1. So it will become e minus e in the first bracket, correct it is? Whereas in the second bracket, 0 into anything it becomes 0. So it will be 0 minus e raised to 0 value is what? 1. So let's see. E minus e, that will get cancelled in first bracket. So here the final answer will be half, right? Thank you.